Hello, this is Allison Inyonwu, and I want to speak with you today about another pillar of leadership. Today's pillar is pillar number 5, and it talks about Gideon, and it's recreated to lead its topic. So, in this Judges chapter 6, Gideon is really caught up in his own way, doing his own thing, living a life of defeated. He's surrounded by people who are defeated. On every hand, they're being taken advantage of, they're being victimized, and God has anointed and appointed him and called him a warrior. And he's wondering, are you talking to me? Like, God, do you not know the me that I see? And what God is saying is that the you that you see is about your vision. And God is saying that he has a different vision. And he wants to recreate us according to his vision. And what we need to do is we need to be not distracted by what we see and what really is, by our limited finances, our limited education, our limited spiritual growth, our limited anything. Because when we begin to trust God to say, God, this is what you have called me to do, and because you have called me to do this, I am going to trust and know that you will provide the means for which it's done. And when we start thinking about God providing the means, we will no longer be thinking about what we see. And that's what began to happen. He began to question God and ask God, me? Where am I going to get the strength to do this? And he said, God, I don't quite believe it because I just can't understand it. So he says, well, God, I need some proof, Lord. Can you give me some proof? So he started working with some fleece. And he asked God to please, God, help him with his faith and allow the fleece to be wet and the ground to be dry. And God provided that for him. And he still was kind of doubtful. And he said, God, just if I could just ask you one more time, Lord, this time, Lord, let the fleece be dry and the ground be damp with dew. And God provided. So what I am understanding in this situation is that God wants us to trust him and to not lean to our own understanding. And he is willing to, he knows our limited perspective. He understands who we are and our imperfections, and that's okay. But all he wants us to do is to trust him. And when we can trust him, he'll give us signs of encouragement. He'll show us things. He'll begin to enlighten your spiritual vision. He'll begin to help your understanding to go deeper. He'll begin to show you things where you're supposed to be. See, the vision that God has for you is bigger than what you can conceive at this point. So what God has to do, he has to prep you. He has to take you to this step. And when you get to this step, then he can show you this step. And when you get to this step, he can show you this step. And when you get there, he can show you this one. And then what happens after that, if you were to look back from this one all the way back to this one, you can see what a great distance and great job that God has done. But whoa, would it have been possible if while you were here, if God would have showed you where you were going to be here, could you have believed it? Could it have been feeling so impossible for you that you might not even strive to get there? So God understands our limitations, and he's willing to work with us step by step, by step, by step, by step. So I challenge you. Let's take the first step. First step is pray and ask God to do His will in your life. To do His will in your life. And God, help me, God, to see in your vision and to be willing, Lord. Lord, loose any strongholds in my life, God. Oh, God, I ask you, Lord, that you develop in me, God. Show me where you want me to be, what you want me to see at this moment, God. And give me the strength, Father, because you told Gideon that you were going to operate, Gideon was going to operate in your strength. And when we do it like that, we're not limited by our own strength or lack of strength. Thank you for listening.